Hi, everybody. It's Joy,
And it's Tim. We are
and we
already
are back
on. Go ahead. After you.
for episode 8.
We are on episode 18 of Live and Found. We're going to talk about Signal 3 today, which is our behind the scenes hero. So,
And that's kind of a cool it's kind of a cool name. So what does that mean, behind the scenes signal? And don't go all technical on me.
well, that took away half of our podcast right there. Thanks. No, really, honestly, behind the scenes, when we developed Signal 3 back in June, it really was all about what what AI is looking for, what the AI reads, and it was kind of one of those standalone. I felt it was kind of one of those standalone signals. Like we had Signal 1 was your data footprint, Signal 2 was your expertise, and that kind of stood alone. And last week we learned that really Signal 2 and Signal 1 are now related. And now Signal 3 is even more related. And it's all about what's going on behind the scenes. And it's not just your schema and your alt text. It really is about being clear and being your clarity. And that's why it's the superhero, because it is now something that every business can grab onto and every business can look to make itself more clear to AI.
Well, and let's back up a little bit and just talk about what is schema. Um, let's just start there because there's a lot to unpack, and we want to do it layer by layer and not to be like, oh God, I can't do that. So what is schema?
Schema is, simply put, it's the language that AI understands. Um, if AI spoke Spanish, we would talk to it in Spanish. That's what schema is. Schema is a way that AI understands it. The What I'm finding out, the best part about schema is your large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, even Grok will create schema for you that's internationally and recognized by everybody. So you don't have to be a tech nerd, which Joy just called me earlier today. She called me a tech nerd. Uh, you don't have to be a tech nerd to understand how to use schema, because AI and the large language models are so good at helping you write it now and make it exactly what AI is looking for.
Okay, so let's stop there because there's different kinds of schema, and that's also something that's a factor when you talk about putting schema on your website. So one of the things that I am slowly learning is how important schema is. So that's why I want to break down like
Sure.
the different types of schema that you should have on your website. What does that look like?
Well, the first one you should always have is your first page schema should be the schema that describes who you are, what you do. So it should have um, things like your name for sure, your website information for sure, and a brief description about what you do that's highly scannable by AI and AI can understand. So you don't want to be cute. You don't want to be um,
Right.
you want to be descriptive.
Markety.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be descriptive, and you want to, like you're talking to somebody and say, my business, I do this. So you don't want to say, like, if you're a plumbing and heating company, you don't want to say, we are electrical engineers that help with the temperature control of your building. No, right? You want to say, we're a plumbing and heating company. And that's the kind of things that's that front page schema you need. You need to have an FAQ schema that will walk through each of the FAQs and say, this is what we're trying to do. And you want to put your actual question and answer on that FAQ page so the schema behind it can scan it. It's not going to scan the page per se, it's going to scan the schema. If you write a blog, you need to put blog schema in there. So AI knows this is my blog page. when you're doing a HubSpot, like we talked about last week, you want to have schema that says, this is my HubSpot. The bottom line is your schema is going to tell when you want your schema to say to AI, my page is this. This is exactly what my page is saying. And those,
Well,
you know,
and the thing is, well, there's 2 points to that. Not having it, AI is just going to skip you. AI is not there to figure out what you're trying to offer or what your services are. They're going to scan for it, crawl it, and if they don't see it, they're going to skip it. So, schema is very important. And as AI search starts to get smarter, schema gets more important. That's the first thing. The second thing is, um, you can't ignore it. You know, believe me, I did not want to get into the schema game, but as we learned more about search and how search operates and how smarter a search is becoming in terms of answering a question, it is all wrapped around schema and how your content is structured and the schema behind it. And so it's so important.
well, schema, I think the best analogy I can think of is schema is like if your AI ecosystem is about your body, uh, the behind the scenes stuff is your skeleton. What we see is your skin. What schema is it's all the ligaments and all the organs that are making you run. And that's why it's so important for a business to have good, solid, and correct schema. And my favorite part about schema right now is that AI will suggest schema, and schema AI is learning from all the other AIs to find out where how it's working together, and they're coming up with new ways to identify people, places, things all the time. So schema is so, like Joy said, it's so vital. And if you're not doing it, AI is just not going to find you. There's no
Well,
other way to say it.
and the other important point about it is it's not just text, it's images, it's video. So if you think about AI crawling your site, it's looking for everything in a flash. And if it can't find it, it's you're not going to benefit from it. So my point is you could be doing everything right. And if you don't have schema on your site, you're not going to get the benefit of all the work that you're doing.
Right. And the other thing I think is very important to go along with the schema, because we just talked about it with your description being short and very descriptive, is being clear on your website too.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you are absolutely positively clear in what you're saying. Don't be cute. You know, cute doesn't get you found.
Cute's over. The day of cute is over. And
Yeah.
that's a really good point, Tim, because I was just reading, I think it was yesterday, I was reading an article and this really blew my mind. And I'm kind of um noodling it to see if I actually think it's true, which means I'm going to do more research into it. But the point is a 60-second video is weighted more heavily than like 3 blogs. So if so the point is you can have short, clear, concise content and get the benefit as opposed to more.
Yeah, I think that is a great, a fantastic point. I think we as grew up with marketing is more is better. Uh, the more keywords you stuff on a page, it's better. The more you can describe something, it's better. And what we're finding now is AI does not like more; it likes concise, clear. If you can get something said in 3 sentences that used to take you 30, AI is going to scan you and find you better than if you do something in 30. I look at it this way, and I know it's not a true statement, but I'm going to give AI a human trait. If AI gets bored, it's going to go on. It's going to move on. And I know it doesn't do it, but if AI can't find it quickly, and like they're like humans that way. If AI can't find it quickly, it's going to move on. It wants scanning, short, concise, and powerful,
And
and it wants to
powerful.
it wants to be shortened and descriptive, and that's the important too. Like you take a picture. If we were to take a picture of our office right now, it would probably come across as the name on, and we put it on our website. It would be like 1221.543.png or .jpj, and that doesn't mean anything to AI. But once we put in that alt text, a conversation like uh, your AI Wizards World Headquarters in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that AI suddenly goes, that's them. That's where they work. That's cool. And that's what you want. So don't just slap stuff on your website and say, "Oh, everybody will understand it." That's my staff, or that's a picture of me and my family. No, 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 no. In the alt text, make sure you describe it short, quick, and concise, because that is going to mean more to AI than just slapping it on there and saying AI understands. Because AI does read images, it does, but alt text, for example, is going to give it that texture that it needs to be found.
Well, and in 2025, we have really focused on AI search because we knew that how people found businesses was going to change with AI recommending an answer. We talked about it for months. We've created the signals on how to say to AI, here, I'm open for business. In 2026, and one of the things we said is now is the time to make the connection. Like, no one's doing it. Get ahead. If you get ahead and you start doing it, then somebody who tries to knock you off is going to have to work much harder. Well, now we're entering in to 2026 and people are making those connections and those things are happening. And we've really kind of dug into the research of it and really got some great data in terms of what businesses are really positioning themselves to be found by AI. What's interesting about that is you lay that over the age group. And boomers like us, of course, we're slower to adapt. We're the exception to that rule, but slower to adapt and recommend. We're more of a referral type population. We'll take a referral and reach out. But every generation after us is taking the recommendations of AI more than a referral.
Mm-hmm.
But hit me as to why. Because at first I was like, I don't know if I believe that or not, but this is why. And this hit me like a ton of bricks. Because if somebody gives somebody a referral, let's say they're 30, 35, oh, you should use so and so. They were great to me. What does that person do? That person goes and checks them out online, checks out their website, checks out their social media, checks out their reviews. It's the same with AI. If AI refers a person, a business, people are going to believe it, research it, and move forward. That's what's scary about AI search is people are going to, and I don't mean this in a bad way, people are going to believe it. People are going to believe it.
And I think we're going back to what we've talked about the last few weeks too, is that's why it's so important to get your connections created. If you're a minority owned business or if you're a female owned business, because it is so
Critical.
the echoes in the chamber we've talked about in the past are so heavily skewed towards males and white males that it's important for you to use this opportunity to use schema, alt text, and create those connections for your business so AI learns that there are things other than white male dominated data. So
Well, and that's so getting back to my point is on your website because you need to be an answer for whatever the question is. And you're not gonna if you don't have schema on your website. And that's just the way it is going. That's the way it is moving. You know, it might have been in 2025, it wasn't as important, but in 2026, it's more important than it was in 2025, which makes it like you have to do it.
right. And if AI's taught us anything, um, you always need to be ahead of the wave, not not behind it, because it's going to drown you. And
Well,
now's the time to get ahead of that wave. And the next wave is this connectivity we've been talking about so much, and AI learning from the behaviors of people is so important that if you don't grab it now, you're like Joy just said, you're going to be fighting that guy that's at the top already. That
yeah, and your business is invisible. I
yeah,
mean, you know, if you think 20-year-olds are going to be for services for the next 45 years, and their method of finding businesses is online, and they're skewing towards taking an AI referral, are you really in a position not to be found for that 20-year-old consumer for 45 years? Because really, that's what you're putting, that's how you're positioning your business is invisible.
right.
And you've worked too hard to not be found.
There you go. And that brings up a great point that in February, we're going to announce it, Joy. In February, we're going to do our next AI and Reach, and we're going to do it both in person here in Colorado Springs and virtually. And this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the signals, and we're going to talk about the bias and the behavior level layers underneath them. And we'll look for, so make sure you follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and X, because we're going to have a lot more details about what we're going to do and what we're going to talk about. And we want you there,
Yeah.
especially if you're our age or a little younger, who isn't quite sure if AI can help them. We want you there because we're going to show you why it is so important and how it can help you. So, and next week we're going to do a little more fun, since next week is Thanksgiving week, and Thanksgiving is all about connections. We're going to talk about AI connectivity and connections, and how AI is becoming more of a connective force in our lives. So we're kind of looking forward to
Awesome.
taking a little break away from the signals. The other thing we need to announce, right, Joy, is it's going to be on a special day and time. It's going to be moved to
Monday.
Monday at 11, so that you can travel on Wednesday and not have to worry about the wizards being talking to you. You can take some time off Monday during your busy work short week schedule and listen to us. So we're looking forward to that. So this has been Tim.
Enjoy.
We're looking forward to seeing you Monday for our next Live and Found about connections. Have a great week, and we'll see you then.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Joy.